I will be brief. This motion comes from a former member of the Labor Party and refers that party to the Ombudsman for an anti-corruption investigation. Mr Somyurek takes the next step on his unlikely redemption arc. Transparency and anti-corruption measures should be applied consistently and in an unbiased way. They shouldn't be used as a weapon to attack political opponents. Mr Somyurek is not an uninterested party. I have no doubt that this motion is intended as a way of getting back at former colleagues for their role in his expulsion. They fought dirty to oust him, and he's fighting dirty to get them back. All the more reason for this investigation. The use of corruption exposition as part of factional infighting is yet another form of misconduct evident within the Labor Party. We need to clean this mess up. We know about some of the use of taxpayer resources for party political campaigning. We know about some of the Labor branch stacking. We know about some of the public sector stacking. And we know about some of Labor's internal factional power struggles that have destroyed local councils. With new information, some of it from Mr Somyurek himself, it's clear that these behaviours run deep. While the red shirt allegations may be old news, some of the other areas outlined in this motion are very current. The use of taxpayer-funded workers to run Labor's social media and to manufacture and coordinate online campaigns and Twitter swarms is a very live issue. Now, Victorian governments of all shades have a long history of misusing of taxpayer resources for party political purposes. But there's never before been a government doing it on such an industrial scale as this one. The accumulated muck within these Orchidon stables is so high, perhaps the Yarra River will need to be diverted through this parliament and through the government offices, through the politicised public service and the police force, in order to cleanse them. I don't want to dwell any longer on the allegations. They need to be investigated, and that should be obvious to everyone. Instead, I'll finish with some reflections on the MPs in this place that will not support this motion. The Greens. The hypocritical Greens. They claim to be a check on government corruption and overreach. But when the rubber hits the road, or perhaps when the coal hits the power station to run all those new air conditioners for renters, it turns out they have no interest in good government. Just like everything else they claim to stand for, the Greens' only purpose is to posture, not to create change. At the end of the day, the Greens are part of the swamp. They have no interest in draining it. They wallow in it while pretending to be offended by the smell. Voters should be clear. Any crossbencher who will not support this motion has no interest in good government. They are in the pocket of the government. Hypocrites threading their arguments through the eye of a needle. Some of them may appear to have already tattooed their allegiance to the government all over their bodies, but if anyone was still in any doubt, let today's vote dispel that. And the voters of Victoria will remember it come the election. I support this referral for an expanded investigation into corruption within this government.